今回のウェビナーはですね、ArcXP という我々が9月に国内でのパートナー契約を発表させていただいた CMS、コンテンツマネジメントシステムですね。これのご説明を皆様に差し上げようということで企画した回でございますと。で、キメラとしては ARC の紹介ページは設けてるんですけれども、実際のものを中の人から直接見せてもらって知ってもらおうと、そういう機会になってます。もちろんCMS を変えますっていうのがそんなに頻繁にあることじゃないよねっていうのは皆さん当然考えていらっしゃるかなとは思うんですけれども、今日は今の CMS ってこういうふうになってるんだなとか、あとはキメラが取り扱っていることと、あと主要な機能と、あと自社で使うとしたらこんな感じかなくらいまで考えていただけると、お腹いっぱいなんじゃないかなというふうに思っております。で、会の進行ですが、今画面に映しております通り、このご案内が1分以上かかってるかな。で、参加者のご紹介をさせていただいて、その後、大東からちょっと今回の提携について改めてお話しいただく時間を取ろうと思っております。で、今日の本題であるところのデモですね、ArcXP の実際の画面を見たりとか、その大枠の話をジャレットさんにしていただいたりとかっていうのを40分時間取っております。で、最後にQ&A として、質疑応答で実際にジャレットさんに直接、もちろん皆さん日本語で喋っていただければ、こちらで翻訳してお返しするので、直接聞いていただけるというような形になっております。では、次に紹介いただいたので、では実際に、お東さんに先ほどご案内させていただいた、改めて提携についてっていうパートで、5分間くらいご挨拶と
話。
していただき
はい。
ます。よろしくお願いします。
はい。ありがとうございます。はい。改めまして、大東です。ですね、アーク XP さんですね、もともとワシントンポストの中のその CMS を開発する部隊からスピンアウトしてですね、今、プロダクト持ってやられてるんですけども、実はこの話、結構長いことですね、いろいろ提携を結んで、これから日本のマーケットでどんなことができるかっていうことを考えてですね、お話を続けてきました。で、ようやくこの間の、9月ですか、10月ですかね、プレスリリースを通じて皆さんに公表させていただいたんですけども、今日初めて皆さんの前で正式にこの ArcXP との提携のお話をさせていただいて、そこでプロダクトの紹介をさせていただきます。で、今日はまずですね、これシリーズでやることが大事かなと思っていてですね、このワシントンポストの CMS として、ArcXP が作られた背景ですとか、それがどういうふうに今のそのメディアのですね、プロダクト作り、編集室とかですね、ニュースルームの文化作りにどういうふうに貢献しているのかみたいなことをですね、どんどん深掘っていけたらっていうことですとか、あとはその今皆さんですね、ウェブニュースとかをやられているときに、いかにこのユーザーの体験を良くしていくかですとか、マネタイズをもっとよくやっていきたいですとか、広告の部分をもっとやっていきたいみたいなことが結構テーマであったりですとか、あとは今すごい話題になってると思うんですけども、その AI の活用っていうところがどういうふうに進んでいくのかなみたいなところの示唆を得られるような、深掘りのセミナーをこれからのウェビナーをですね、これからもやっていければと思っています。で、それをやるにあたってですね、まずはこの ArcXP の全体の、概要というのを今日は掴んでいただいて、そこからまた次の、ステップに進めた時のですね、材料にしていただければと思ってますので、今日はどちらかというと、実際のプロダクトのですね、デモを紹介させていただきながら、それに対して皆さんに質問いただいたりですとか、その開発の背景みたいなところもお話ができたらと思ってますので、どうぞ皆様お付き合いいただければと思います。よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございました。というわけで、ここから先は実際の ArcXP のデモに入っていこうかと思いますが、ちょっと設定をするのでお待ちくださいと。よいしょ。はい。皆さん画面が出たかと思いますが、それでは早速、ここから先多分30分くらい全ての尺であるので、進めていこうかなと思います。で、これ実際にデモになるので、実はジャレットさんも事前に収録いただいて、日本語字幕がついています。なので、先ほどの Zoom の CC、もし切っていただいても字幕で終えるかなと思いますので、好みに応じてご利用いただければなというふうに思います。では早速進めていこうと思います。
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I am Jared Ash from ArcXP, and I'm very pleased to introduce you to the ArcXP platform. So to get us started, for those of you that are not too familiar with Arc, we are a media operating system built to help organizations modernize, grow, and focus on what they do best, telling great stories. Originally developed within the Washington Post, we have grown into a platform that powers thousands of sites worldwide, helping newsrooms and enterprises alike operate faster, smarter, and with more efficiency. Media is truly in our DNA. So we were born out of the Washington Post newsroom, and now, over a decade later, we are helping organizations in news, media, broadcasts, and publishing tackle some of the most common challenges today and help them innovate. And a lot of this innovation comes alongside our relationship with the Post. You can experience these actually through the Ask the News AI consumer experience on the Washington Post website and personalized elements that are throughout websites powered by ArcXP. The key point here is that when you choose Arc, you're not just choosing a vendor or a CMS, you're truly getting a partner that lives and breathes the challenges you face in the industry, and we're helping build the future of media alongside you. Today, when it comes to the technology choices that you're faced with, publishers often face quite a dilemma, which is the fact that unified systems can be rather comprehensive but rigid. Point solutions offer flexibility but become fragmented and expensive. And ArcXP really bridges that gap, offering the functionality of best-in-class tools integrated within one powerful and scalable platform. Now, in today's publishing technology, there are a myriad of choices. Most of them we would categorize as the traditional CMS platforms. So unlike traditional CMS platforms or homegrown systems, ArcXP is purpose-built for media with pre-configured workflows, managed infrastructure, and continuous innovation baked into what we do. The model is SaaS, and that truly means that your team can focus on storytelling and innovation and not system maintenance. So when we unpack all of that, how we go beyond the traditional CMS, there's a few core components. At the top of that list is modernization. We are a modern platform that offers the entire infrastructure, monitoring, stability, CDN configuration, performance, and many of these capabilities are proprietary to the media landscape and specifically ArcXP. We enable the newsroom to create and publish faster, your IT teams to be able to innovate and deploy new products quicker. We have case studies that point to the advent of Arc entering a media organization and them being allowed the resource and the bandwidth to now develop new and interesting products in their space. And because our tie in the market, specifically in media, this allows us to bring new innovations to the table on a continuous cycle, and we're constantly building and releasing new platform features so that you can take advantage of the newest tools in publishing. And lastly, but most importantly, all of this efficiency that is brought to the table through our technology helps you to grow independent revenue, subscriptions, new and interesting ways of monetizing your audience, and overall growing your landscape, whatever that may look like for your organization. And today, we are trusted by many of the world's leading media brands. Across 30 countries, we power thousands and thousands of sites with billions of page views, all in one platform. And here's a quick highlight of some of the companies that use us. You'll be in great company, and you may also see some familiar names here. Now, in regards to the ArcXP advantage, we really empower three core audiences. For newsrooms, we simplify storytelling with rich multimedia tools. For developers, we provide flexibility in an API-first infrastructure. And for business teams, we're unifying data and monetization, reducing costs and, increasing returns, pardon me. All of this comes down to the ecosystem where every part of the newsroom, every part of the organization truly benefits, from reporters using Composer to editors using our WebSched, our scheduling tool, to designers and developers managing pages and platforms. ArcXP truly unites these roles into one single workflow, reducing friction and enabling a true digital-first publishing environment. Here's an example of ArcXP in the newsroom, a cycle of what that workflow could look like. So starting off with content creation, cross-device access for all of your content creators, combining tasks and notifications, metrics throughout the production, collaborative tools allowing you to take that content, whether it's multimodal or multimedia threaded within that content. We're going to give you the flexibility to display it to your audience in a way that fits your business's needs and your audience's desires. Then we can take that content through multiple distribution channels and deliver strategically to any platform or device, including print. And then lastly, you can analyze all of the data, all of the consumption. Editors will be able to uncover unseen value using multidimensional analysis, leverage real-time testing to continuously enhance your site's features. Now, content efficiency is first and foremost on the minds of many news and media organizations, our customers, the market at large. And we see a future where AI agents support the full content lifecycle, from research and drafting to packaging and distribution, but the human storyteller always stays at the center. Our AI tools, agents that are a part of the ArcXP out-of-the-box solutions are your content writers' co-pilots, collaborating with creators to work faster, scale output, and focus on what really matters, the quality and the voice. With Arc, teams are then able to plug in native agents and build AI-assisted workflows that still truly feel human. It's how we help our customers do more faster without sacrificing journalistic integrity, authenticity, or impact. A topic that also comes up in many of these conversations for those looking to push the needle, beyond their current structures, it's really about the workflow transparency. So that could be simple as scheduling and budgeting or following individual stories, but editors can see in real time what's being produced across the organization, past, present, future, and this type of transparency helps newsrooms make smarter decisions about coverage, resourcing, and scheduling. Now we're going to take a brief moment here to introduce you to some of these tools and some of these workflows through a demo. And we do hope that after this portion of today's webinar, that you will have some questions for us. Of course, we're going to get to Q&A a little bit later on.
ここでデモとなっているんですが、一旦最後までこれ行こうと思ってます。
Now, coming back to the proof in what we do here at Arc, you've seen a sneak peek at how workflows within Arc can transform the newsroom, bring efficiency to your teams, and ultimately drive for those results. Well, we've seen that in market with our customers. So InfoBuy is a great example. This is a client that migrated from a legacy CMS to Arc in just under 3 months, and the results were quite striking. A 98% faster speed in page downloads, 40% higher SEO scores, and massive gains in their monthly traffic. And here's a quote directly from InfoBuy, from their founder and CEO. And really the key out of this is the strength in our partnership. The committed team that works alongside InfoBuy has helped them drive that efficiency and build the confidence within their organization to really push forward into the future. Another great example is the Globe and Mail from my home country here in Canada. And this is another partner that shifted their IT team from maintenance to innovation. So that legacy CMS scenario where they're spending all of their resources and development roadmaps on simply enough keeping their CMS alive, partnering with Arc has allowed them to innovate. And with Arc, they improved their page load speed by 81%, grew engagement, and redirected technical resources towards experimentation, data science, and to this day are one of our most successful customers. And once again, another quote, this is from one of their creative directors, who really sees Arc as more than a CMS and really a tool for high quality digital storytelling. And this is the type of feedback that we often hear from our customers, is that efficiency opens the door for innovation. And to really drive this point home, once again, we have many successful case studies here in the market. In this example, once again, we saw a newsroom that found a 38% increase in monthly page views, 85% faster translation workflows and time. We really and truly simplified their processes and empowered editors to focus on storytelling. And a quote here from their head of development. When they first came to us, Metro World News were really focused on finding new and innovative ways to leverage automation, simplify the workflows, open the gates once again to great storytelling. And upon moving to Arc, this is exactly what they found, and they continue to grow with us to this day. And a few more, to really drive the point home here. This does translate into real results. We have, La Parisienne, who rolled out Arc Intelligence across our newsroom, automating tagging and summaries, image sourcing, social posts. So once again, journalists could spend more time on storytelling and allow AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting and the administrative tasks. Our vector-based AI drives 75% more accurate recommendations than a keyword search, keeping audiences engaged longer. We see this in our parent company, the Washington Post. And in regards to revenue, we've helped customers go from 0 to hundreds of thousands of subscribers, really building from the ground up, all managed within ArcXP. And by consolidating tools, our customers cut technical debt, lower costs, freeing teams to focus on the impact. Now, what does this all mean if you decided to pursue an opportunity with Arc? We truly partner with the organizations that eventually become our customers through assessing their needs and the challenges they see in the market. And when you do become a customer, from day one, our onboarding team uses proven best practices from hundreds of launches to get you live faster, whether that's a single site or a multi-site rollout, or even a fast track approach, to help you find that speed to value and that speed to revenue that many desire. Now, once you're live, we don't disappear. We are truly your partner in the long term. So you'll get hands-on training from our for editorial and development teams, regular performance and optimization reviews to really make sure that you're getting the most out of the platform. And throughout the journey, you have 24/7, 365 support, a dedicated account manager, access to our roadmap, learning center, and community. So you're always ahead of what's truly next. Now, I want to thank you all again for joining today's session. I believe we're going to open it up for some Q&A, and I will be there live to go through this with you. So looking forward to some great questions, and thank you again.
はい、ありがとうございました。まずは、ArcXP の概要説明部分のビデオをご覧いただいたところですね。このままちょっと進めるのもちょっとあれなんで、ちょっと振り返りますと、まず最初に皆さんもうご存知かもですが、ArcXP は、ワシントンポスト、米ワシントンポストの、中から生まれたプロダクトになっているっていうところが一番最初のご紹介でありました。で、 この辺の、今現状、出版社が直面しているテクノロジー選定に関してみたいなところ、もちろん皆さん CMS 選定とか、もちろん他のツール選定とかにも関わる部分だと思うんで、いろいろお調べ、している部分とかもあるのかなと思いつつ、こんな利点がありますよと。で、レガシー CMS と比べるととか、あと自社開発と比べるとっていうなんかスライドなんかもありました。大東さん、このあたりとかって、多分普段からメディア支援している中で CMS の話になると結構この辺の話になることがあるんじゃないかなと思うんですけど、どうですか？
そうですね。今なんか実はその国内でもやっぱり CMS ってそんな選択肢がまだなかったと思っていて、で、ただ直近だとメディア人さんの、なんだっけ、犬の名前。
何でしたっけ？
はい。
ありますよね。
新しい CMS をメディア人さんにやられてたりとか、あと静岡新聞社さんもですね、最近どこかのCMS と、提携されてたと思うんですけど、なんかこの手の、新しい CMS っていうのはやっぱりモダナイズされた仕組みで作られているとか、システムの構成がすごいカスタマイズしやすいとかですね、新たな機能を作った時に追加しやすいとか、あとはすごい細かいところの調整みたいなところがしやすいみたいな作り方をされているので、結構これまでの国内で使われている CMS だと、意外とそういうところの融通っていうところがですね、結構なんですかね、修正するとかってなるとすごいかなり大掛かりになったりとか、そこでかなり機能開発でお金がかかったりとかっていうところがあると思うんですけども、なんかそういうところの柔軟性がまず担保してるっていうのがすごい強いかなと思います。で、あとは日本の国内のそのマーケットで言うと、特に新聞社においては、例えば紙面の仕組みと、組版の仕組みとか、紙面の DB とかっていうところと、どういうふうに連携できるのかであったりですとか、あとは、国内のですね、スマートニュースとか、Yahoo とか、共同通信とかっていう、その外部の配信先との連携とか、フォーマットとかってどういうふうにできるのかみたいなところがすごい課題になると思っています。で、そういうところの連携も今の仕組みであれば、かなり柔軟に対応できるみたいなところがあるので、私もこれはなんか多分日本のマーケットにもかなりマッチするんじゃないかなっていうふうに考えて、今回提携の方に至った次第ではあります。なので、ある程度ですね、この日本の、メディアとかパブリッシャーの業界の中で一般的にこう持たれている CMS の課題をですね、すべてもう事前に、アークの皆さんにぶつけた上で、今回の話を進めているので、多分そこの柔軟性ってところはすごい、いいんだろうなっていうところと、その今の、その AI の活用みたいなところも、先進的にこういろんなことに取り組まれているので、そういったところの今後の可能性みたいなところがすごい魅力になっていくのかなというふうに思っています。
ありがとうございます。AI のところも、もっと後半だったっけ？ありましたね。この辺の、コンテンツ効率化みたいなところと、あと、実際の編集のワークフローに結びついたところの機能が充実してるっていうのが、アーク一つの売りなのかなと思っていて、この後少し、実際のデモ、この後もう一本ビデオがあって、実際のアークの画面を見ながら操作するデモを、この後お見せするんですけれども、そこの中とかだと、どういうふうに、その実際の編集の、皆さんの動きと、この CMS が連携するのかどうかみたいなところもご覧いただけるので、その辺で実際の画面の中だけではなくて、チームが共同すると結局こうコミュニケーションが発生したりとか、どういうふうに共同して動くのかみたいなところまで考えると、スケジューリングとか、の話にも及ぶと思うんですけど、多分そのあたりもアークはカバーしているというか、機能として持っているので、一体どういうふうに今の、例えば自分たちのニュースルームの中で、そういう機能が生きてくるのかみたいなやつをちょっと想像しながら見ていただければなというふうにも思っています。
そう、なんか僕コメントし忘れたんですけど、このワークフローのところも結構重要かなと思っていて、なんか今の、パブリッシャーとかメディアの世界って、ある程度この CMS に合わせてこうワークフローをなんか作り直さなきゃいけないとかっていうのもあるんですけども、なんか今回の場合は逆にこうワークフローをある程度こうすごいシンプルにしながらもカスタマイズしながら作っていけるっていうところが魅力かなと思うので、そういうところも今後ですね、別の回になるかもしれないですけど、ご紹介できればと思っています。
うんうん。ありがとうございます。では、デモの方のもう一個の実際の画面の方を見ていこうかなと思ってるんですが、実際に今日は皆さん今、ジャレットさんも実際にいらっしゃるので、後で Q&A のコーナーがあって、そこで皆さんからの質問も、聞いていただけるので、なんかこの辺って実際どうなってんのとか、突っ込んで聞きたいところがあったら、また、 考えておいて、後で QA の時に、テキストなり、発言していただければなと思っています。では、もう一本いこうと思います。よいしょ。はい、こちらも同じくらい結構尺が15分ちょっとぐらいあるので、一緒に同時視聴していきましょう。
Composer is our content creation and editing product. You can quickly create a new story here and choose a starting template. Choosing a template allows you to pre-fill some metadata so content creators can really speed up their time to publish content. So I have a few story cards listed already. We'll just open one of these. And I can see here that I've already started creating some content. If we can take a step back through the Planning tab, I can see that I've set a primary website, listed a working headline, and I can also add authors here from our authoring service. Within the Circulate tab, I can choose which sites and sections I want to share this content between. This way, if I'm managing multiple sites and sections, I can share content between them really easily and only create it once. So when I go back to composing, in addition to text, I can add various content elements. So we provide many formats out of the box, but you can always create a custom embed as well. But let's say I want to include an image. I can choose the image icon and Photo Center will appear. I could set up some filters or search for the image that I want to include, and I'll see that here, and I can go ahead and insert that within the body of my article. So now I can see I have some text, I have some images. If I wanted to add a tweet or a video, that would also be possible. If I go into the Meta tab, this area is highly configurable. So I currently have a few items like paywall status. I want this article to be free. I can also add tags. So we have a tagging service, and once I start typing, I can see the autofill option completes my tag. And I can also set a featured image. So when I publish this article, I've set a specific thumbnail to appear on the front end. Once I'm happy with this article, I can save it, and I can publish if I have the permission to do so. And I can either publish this content now, or I could schedule it to be published at a future time or date. You can also really easily collaborate on content by integrating with WebSched, which is our product that manages workflow. We have a native integration with Slack and Teams and email. So let's say I've taken a first step at creating this content, and once I change a status from something like draft to edit, I want a notification to be kicked off within a private Slack channel. Now, if I belong to this channel, I can claim this task. So now everyone knows I'm currently editing this content. Now, within Composer, I can go in and delete or add content, maybe add some comments, for example. I can even reply to comments within here. And I could go in and add some memo notes at the top of my article as well. Perhaps after I'm finished adding my notes, I can mark my edit task within Slack as complete. And at this point, multiple people may have added or deleted content. I always have access to the revision history of this content, so I can view previous versions. Maybe a few hours ago, I can see that version, and what's been added is shown in green, and what's been deleted is shown in red. So I always have the option to restore a version if necessary after collaborating on a specific piece of content. WebSched is our content planning and scheduling tool. So this is the place to go if you're looking for a high-level overview of all the content within your organization. So at a glance, you have a sort of dashboard view here. At the top, we've got some metrics on how much content has been published over the past 24 hours. You can also quickly click on tasks that have been assigned to you or to groups that you belong to, or even content by section or platforms they've been recommended to. So if I go into the stats here, I can see on the left-hand side if I'm hitting my deadlines, if I'm on time, if I'm late. On the right, you can see what time of day I'm publishing content, so you may want to track when you're publishing in the morning versus in the evening or the afternoon. And I can also see how much content is published day after day. Now, if I go into stories, this is where I can see content based on filters that I have set up. So at a quick glance right here, I'll see a few story cards. I can see content that's currently in the draft status, in edit, at a high level. On the left, I can see the filters that I've set up. So when is my start time? When's my end time date? I can choose whether I only want to see articles, for example, or I want to view all of my content regardless of what type it is. Perhaps I want to see content that came from my staff or a specific wire, for example. If I'm concerned of whether this content is editorial or sponsored, I can filter based on that. And I can also filter based on what workflow step it's currently in. So if I just want to see content that's currently being edited, it's really easy to filter on that. I can also do some advanced filtering here too, maybe based on a specific author or a tag that I'm interested in. And if I have filtered already, I can save some searches too, so it's really easy for me to just go to that saved search. Also, I can filter based on the primary website it belongs to or the section or platform, and that can be really helpful with multi-site organizations. And of course, I can just search for keywords. Let's say I'm looking at this specific article. At a quick glance, I can see the tags that are associated with it and even how many images are included in this article. And without leaving WebSched, I can preview how this content currently looks. So from here, I could get a really quick overview of what this content actually looks like, and I can make recommendations for where to feature this content. So I could pitch this content to Instagram or Facebook directly from WebSched, and perhaps I also want to feature this content in an upcoming weekly newsletter. So I may have a newsletter set up. I want to pitch this to the top section of that newsletter in this week's edition. I can do that all from WebSched. And I can also add this to a collection. So perhaps I want to feature this in my editor's choice section on my homepage. All of these features are available from the My Stories page that I'm looking at within WebSched. So moving on to collections, this is an area for groups of content you may want to feature somewhere on your site. So when I make a recommendation to feature that an article is in my editor's choice collection, I can view that from here. And I can pin specific content so it keeps to a certain spot in my list. And I can also really easily sort of reorder, drag and drop these different articles within my collection. Now within the settings, I can specify if new content is added to either the top or the bottom of the list. And I can also dynamically curate the collection, so if I don't want to manually add to it every time, it can be populated based on a tag or a section that it belongs to. WebSched Publications is also a great place to manage items like email newsletters. Here I have a weekly newsletter set up, and if you remember, we pitched content here as well. Within this weekly newsletter, I can have multiple sections, so maybe a top section and a bottom section. And I can view pitches here, so this is all the content I've recommended to feature. From here, I can choose which items make the cut and book them. And once I've booked them, I still have the option to change the order and move these around to other sections. And you may have a workflow where you want to stop allowing content to be pitched at a certain time. You have the option to lock this newsletter section from accepting new content. So let's say at 5 p.m. on Friday before this edition goes out on Saturday morning. And something like booking or locking a section can also act as a trigger to send a notification downstream to the actual tool you're using to manage the emailing of these newsletters. So overall, WebSched's a really powerful tool you can use to both manage and schedule your content on your site itself, but it also orchestrates where you want to feature this content through other channels like social media and newsletters. Page Builder is a really powerful tool and an area where both developers and non-technical users collaborate. We'll touch mainly on the non-technical editor view in this demo. So Page Builder Editor is comprised of two sections, Pages and Templates. Pages are high traffic areas like a home page or a landing page. You'll want to create a specific layout for these items. Templates, on the other hand, are layouts that are frequently used for items like articles, videos, authors. Basically, every time someone clicks on an article, the same formatting is applied. It's really easy to create different versions of pages. Maybe you have a version configured differently that you want on standby that isn't quite live yet. Or maybe even you want to make a copy of an existing page and use that to make some edits as necessary. So let's open our home page. Just so we have an overview of what we're looking at here, I've curated this homepage based on these blocks. So I've got a header, a large promo, a video player, and a nice chain of 3 blocks at the bottom of the page. It's really easy for me to move these blocks around and sort of rearrange the view as a non-technical user. So just moving the video center player up, you can see how quick that is. So Page Builder offers a set of out-of-the-box blocks called themes. So this entire page has been configured using only themes. I have about 50 plus frequently used blocks here that I can add directly to the page. And we also have chains, and these are a way to sort of stitch these blocks together. So we really advise you to start with themes first, see where any gaps are, and then really use your development resources to build on top of what's offered out of the box. So analyzing a few of these elements on the pages, let's look at the editor's picks section. This is a numbered list. So in my configure content, I can view the schema, the content source. So this is coming from my content API, but we can easily support external sources. So in this example, I could pull from a story feed, a tag, but here I'm referencing a WebSched collection that I've created. So with this out-of-the-box block, I can specify how many items I want to display, which promo elements I want to feature, and I can update that block really easily. Any of these blocks I have here, I can rename, I can clone to easily replicate and edit, and I can remove them from my page. And you can also create variants of these blocks. So Page Builder offers Bandito, which is our multi-bandit testing tool. So if you want to experiment and test which content performs best with visitors of your site, you can create multiple variants. So in this example, I have an extra large promo block here I've created, and I want to test out a different image to feature. So it's really easy for me to pick something from Photo Center directly from Page Builder. And I could even change the title, the headline, and other elements on the block if I wanted to include in this variant. And when I hover over the different variant, I can preview what it looks like too. So once I publish this page, Bandito will start a test and we'll offer up these different variants to the end user. And then based on click-through rates, a winner will be chosen, and then that's the version that continues to be served to the end user. Now, when I do make edits, I can easily share my edits, and then if I have the correct permissions, I can quickly publish the page as well. And you can easily view what the published page looks like really quickly too. So Page Builder lets you see a preview of what your live page looks like within seconds of it being published. And we also allow you to view what your page looks like on multiple devices as well. So by default, we're responsive here, but I can view what this looks like on an iPad, or I can view what this looks like on a phone as well, directly from within my page view within Page Builder. Now to shift a bit, our newest product really goes kind of hand in hand with Page Builder, but it's called Theme Settings. And theme settings is a tool that lets you easily configure some key properties of your site. So I've created a new build here, and I want to make some edits to my ARC sales site. So I could go in here, I could change my display name. I can set a different primary font, for example. So if I want to change this from Able to something else, I can do that really easily. I could also change out my accent color here. So if I want to change this from white to maybe the blue that's in my logo, I can do that really easily. And I could even go in and change my logo as well. So this is appearing in my footer, in my header, throughout my site. It may even be a fallback image if a featured image is not displayed on a specific article. And various other settings can be applied to, like social media and any other sort of integrations you have as well. So once I save and exit right here, I can generate a preview of what this build looks like. So I can see an example of my new homepage if I decide to publish this build. So if I view my preview right here, I can see that my primary font has been changed a bit, and the default color on my navigation bar has also changed from white to this newly applied blue. So if I'm happy with this, I can go ahead and complete my build. And I always like to include some notes with what I've changed. So we updated the font and we updated the primary color. Once I complete that build, I can quickly publish and make this version live if I'd like to as well.
はい、ありがとうございました。一番最初のあたりの CMS の基本的なエディット部分に加えて、その中でSlack とか Teams とかと実際に編集チームがどう共同するかみたいなところも含めた連携機能であったりとか、あとはそのエディット画面そのものでコメントをしたりとか、それに返信ができたりとかみたいなところを最初にご覧いただけたらかなと思います。で、その辺で、実際にどこの辺だったかな。ここですね。このあたりのところの連携機能っていうのは多分皆さん Slack とか Teams とか、当然チャット機能で一緒に仕事されてると思うんで、そのあたりの効率化が図れたりとか、あと時々これはいろんな編集部でお話しさせていただくんですが、誰がこんな動きしてるよみたいなことを、編集会議週1とか各週でやってる場じゃなくても周りとそういうのが共有できているっていうところが意外と少なかったりとかしてですね、こういう機能もそういう情報共有とかどんな動きしてるかっていうのを把握するのに役立つっていう機能ですね。で、それからコメント機能があったりとか、で、あと、この辺かな。よいしょ。この辺ですね。結構アナリティクスの簡易的な機能、記事の公開本数であったりとか、曜日とかで分かれて把握できますよっていうのがありましたけれども、こういう機能が内蔵されていたりとか、あとこの辺のエディットの、絞り込みの機能が強力であったりとか、みたいなものがあって、で、この辺だ。
この絞り込みめちゃくちゃ便利そうですね。
そうです。結構スポンサー記事とそうじゃないものとか、スタッフが書いたものと通信社のもので分けるとか、そういうことが細かくできると。どの画面出すのが一番いいかなと思ってるんですが、この辺かな。閉じちゃった。今これちょっとちっちゃく見えてるか分かんないですけど、Facebook とか Instagram とか YouTube とか、今って当然のことながらソーシャルで皆さん活動される中で、直接そこのポストと連携するっていうよりは、ニュースレターとかも含めて、全体でどうソーシャルを攻めていくか、自分のウェブサイトの外の活動をどうしていくかみたいなところも、結構メインステージというか、主に考えるところになってると思うんですが、そことの連携機能だったりとか、ニュースレターに、先ほどこれデモで出てきてましたけど、一番トップの上部のところに、ニュースレターのこの記事を推薦しますよみたいなデモもありましたね。 みたいなことも含めて、先ほどの編集者のスケジューリングとか、みたいなところも含めて、あと実際のアウトプット、ソーシャルをどういうふうにアウトプットしていくかみたいなところも含めて、Web スケットっていうツールが入っていて、それで連携できますよっていうのが一つありましたね。であとはこの編集者のおすすめのセッティングができますよであったりとか、あとページビルダーっていう、これは非技術者でも、いわゆる編集者とかデスクの皆さんでも、結構ページ構成いじってテストしたりとか、みたいなことができるっていう話の中に、どの辺だったかな。この辺で、テストができるっていう機能がデモされていたと思います。どの辺だったかな。実際にこのブロックを差し替えて、CTR が高いものが選ばれるようなテストができる機能もビルトインで入っているというようなデモもありました。で、本当はもう少し AI のところをお見せするデモもあったらよかったなと思ってはいるんですが、ここですね。さっきのテストができるところ。これ結構ページのタイトルとか記事のタイトルとかで AB テストするっていうのは結構皆さんやられている作業かなと思うんですが、それをなんかこうページの上の方のこのセクションでやるみたいな、タイトルだけじゃなくてやるっていう機能が内蔵されてるんで、この辺は結構そのページ最適化っていう文脈でタイトル編集してた皆さんとかは結構この辺まで突っ込んで使っていただけるかなといったところになってます。この辺ですね。デザインも直接編集者が変えられると。という、結構さらっとしたデモではあるんですが、もうちょっと深掘った内容であったりとか、先ほどの AI のところ、もう少し多分実際に見たいみたいなこともあると思うんで、それは多分後日のシリーズの他の時に、お見せできるといいかなというふうには思います。はい、でもここでデモのビデオは終わりなんですけれども、残り、10分切っちゃってますけれども、事前にいただいた質問も含めて、ここからはジャレットさんにライブでお答えいただけるといいかなというふうなパートに入っていこうと思っています。なので、皆さんももしこの場で思いついた質問とか、これ聞いてみたいなみたいなものがあったら、ぜひぜひ書き込んでいただければと思いますが、まずは、ちょっと事前にもらってたやつとかを話そうと思いますが、じゃあ、ここから先ちょっともし、お東さんと一輝さんで、ジャレットさんと回していただければと思いますが、質問のところ、最初のものは、じゃあ、ワシントン・ポストが CMS を作るというのはどういう経緯だったのかとか、その辺とか聞けたりするんですかね。どうなんだろ
Yes. So, as you saw in our presentation today and through our demo, ArcXP is very much an end-to-end platform. So it is content creation tools, scheduling, really all of the tools required to bring efficiency to a newsroom, and also the front-end components. What is not highlighted in that demo is the fully managed infrastructure surrounding it. So when the Washington Post decided to build a CMS, it was purely out of the state that nothing like it existed in the market at that time. Essentially, you had to choose various systems to accomplish very specific tasks and then connect them together through integrations. So the Washington Post set out to build a unified system and an infrastructure to support the demands of that newsroom. And upon building that, we realized that it is very commercially viable because there are massive news, media, and broadcast organizations around the world who struggle with similar challenges. Does that answer the question?
ありがとうございます。じゃあ、次も僕から出しちゃっていいですか、質問。一応、事前に、あるものとかもあるんで、ちょっと僕の方でストックしてたんですが、じゃあね、この辺とか行きましょうかね。ワシントン・ポストの編集カルチャーから影響を受けた ArcXP の側面を教えてほしいです。
So if the question is how much of the build of ArcXP was influenced by the editorial culture of the Washington Post, very much so. So the team that built the original version of ArcXP were part of the technology team within the Washington Post. They lived alongside the editorial teams. Believe it or not, they're actually still part of the product development and technology teams, including our president, Matt Monahan, at ArcXP today. So the original team that built this with inside of the Washington Post, with the editorial stakeholders in mind, are those still leading our innovation here at ArcXP. And the editorial considerations were first and foremost. So when the original build of ArcXP was constructed, it was once again to address that specific need that very few, if not any, CMS platforms out there were designed to manage the unique workflows and desires of a hard-hitting newsroom, where the speed at which you can produce content and hard-hitting journalism and get it out into the hands of your readers is paramount. And this platform was really centered around that speed to developing, approving, managing, and collaborating with content developers to have that content go from an idea, a story, to live on the website.
なんか僕が4月にニューヨーク行って、ワシントンポストのオフィスとかも行ってきたんですけど、基本的には、ジェルさんおっしゃってる通り、もう編集と開発がもう本当真横で一緒にやってるみたいな感じで、そこからのフィードバックがもう本当リアルタイムで来るみたいな環境で、まあ、システム開発をされているってところなんで、なんか本当にそこの、実際のワークフローとかそこのペインをしっかり理解されてですね、それがまあプロダクトに反映されてるっていうのが、なんかそういうインフルエンスっていうか、まあ、影響を受けるっていう意味ではすごい強かったんじゃないかなっていうふうに思います。
ありがとうございます。まだ1、2問いけるかな。では、ワシントンポスト以外のメディアでも ArcXP が使われるようになってから、どんなフィードバックがあったか、いくつか思い浮かぶものがあれば教えてください。
So feedback from the market, as you may know, and when I showed the slide with some of our key partnerships, our key partners in the market, we only exist in the realm of news media publishing, broadcasting, and high content velocity organizations. So what that means is that all of our product development is really centered around the world of media at a global scale. And we take feedback from all of the markets we operate within. So that's truly globally. So we're operating there in Japan. We're growing. It's emerging within the European, Latin American, and North American markets. And we're constantly taking feedback from our customers and from those that we interact with in the industry, and taking that, whether it be ideas, innovation exchanges, and we're putting those back into our platform. So everything that we develop truly comes from the voice of the market. So not only is our platform very well received as it is, but we do not rest on our laurels. There's very much a continuous improvement of our platform through feedback within the market.
ありがとうございます。では、またこれもちょっと少し似た質問ですが、AI のところですね、ArcXP インテリジェンスが、制作者を支援してワークフローを合理化するみたいなところで、もしその効率化のエピソードとかあれば教えてください。
Yeah, so we didn't get to touch on this so much today. So there's an entire AI suite built within ArcXP. We call this our content intelligence platform. And at its earliest stages, it was built to bring operational efficiency into the newsroom. And there, at times there's a fear around AI, especially in the world of news and generative AI creating content. That is not the realm in which we operate. It is very much about bringing operational efficiency. So a great example of this would be, you're a journalist, you're writing a story. You want to focus on the storytelling, the content at hand, having your sources cited, and creating a great piece of content to publish eventually on the website. What you're probably not thinking about is how many languages this story needs to be in for your global markets, what sort of metadata or SEO tags need to be associated with this content. Maybe you're writing a great story, but you're stuck on a title. These are all components that our AI editor can help you tackle with a human in the loop. So nothing that we do with AI is completely automated. There's always an approval. There's checks and balances in place to ensure that not only are you creating content and at scale and you're bringing efficiency through our AI editor, but there's an approval and a human component to this to maintain the integrity of that content. So at its very core, it's around operational efficiency, and that could be, as I mentioned, simple things like translating an article into multiple languages. It could be spell checking and doing some basic copy editing work. It could be creating fun and new ideas for titles for that content, or even a structuring of that content that best fits where it will be published eventually, page size, mobile, whatever it may be. And those are some basic iterations of how AI is leveraged within ARC.
ありがとうございます。結構あれですね、日常業務の小さいところ、で使えそうな、大きな AI 機能というよりは、多分それが細かいところにも入り込んでいて、それが作業効率を上げて、コンテンツ効率を上げるみたいなところが、多分 ARC の考えているところになるのかなというふうに思います。どうですか、大東さんや参加の皆さんの方から、もし何かあれば、ご質問など。
そうですね。ご質問というか、もうすぐ終わってしまうので、今後の、多分、ArcXP さんとウェビナーをですね、複数回開催する上でですね、この AI の部分とか、ワークフローの部分とかっていうところをですね、結構フォーカスを当てて、それぞれやっていきたいと思うので、皆さんの方からもぜひ、この後アンケートとかあると思うんですけども、もしくは別途ご連絡いただいて、こんなテーマでいろんな話が聞きたいとか、こういうことを詳しく聞きたいっていうのは、今回のその CMS だけに限らず、ワシントンポスト全体のことも含めてですね、いろいろご質問を投げていただければと思いますので、お願いします。
ありがとうございます。ですね。もう6時3分回ってるので、そろそろおしまいの時間になってきてしまっているんですが、皆さんの方からのご質問、そうですね、今後も機会あるたびにいただければと思いますし、デモのご依頼なんかも、いただければなというふうに思っております。今の案内だったら次回の例えばウェビナーとかの時とかには、もう少し例えば AI のところとかご案内できたらと思いますし、技術寄りの話なんかもね、多分入ってきたりとかすると思うんで、その辺もアピールできたらなというふうには思います。では、ここまで、1時間弱でしたが、弊社のウェビナーにご参加いただいてありがとうございました。ジャレットさんも本当にありがとうございました。慣れない環境だったと思いますが、デモの動画も撮っていただいて、QA も答えていただいてありがとうございます。では、ここまでで、ウェビナー終了したいと思います。本日も皆さんご参加ありがとうございました。今後もウェビナーのご案内しようと思いますので、よろしくお願いいたします。では、失礼いたし
ありがとうござい
ます。
ました。
Thank you.